Cuba gears up for tourist influx. As U.S. relations improve, it is not hard to see why Cuba is so popular with tourists. The music, fine cigars, rum and pristine beaches have enticed visitors to the island since before the Cuban Revolution. Add the 1950s cars gliding through the streets of one of the last communist strongholds in the world. Cuba boasts something unique in the international tourism market, that intangible stamp of authenticity which so many visitors demand. Today, even though the diplomatic ice between the United States and Cuba is melting fast, Washington's decades-old travel ban on U.S. citizens visiting the communist island is still officially in place. Arbitrary rule, but in the minds of many U.S. tourists, the ban is no longer worth the paper it is written on. I really don't care whether I'm breaking the law in their eyes, says David, the musician from Illinois who is on his second trip to Cuba in 10 years. Without the right paperwork, I thought it was a ridiculous and arbitrary rule in the first place. Every day, more Americans feel equally emboldened to visit the once forbidden island, particularly after seeing their president sit down with Raul Castro for historic talks at a regional summit in Panama. To them, it seems unfair, even illogical, to ban travel to a country you are on increasingly friendly terms with. Traditionally, U.S. citizens who travel to Cuba illegally do so via Mexico, Canada or the Bahamas. But since December, travel visas for Americans have been more readily available in 12 key categories, from cultural and religious exchanges to sporting events. Furthermore, many U.S. visitors have simply lost their fear of being fined by the U.S. government if they travel to Cuba without prior approval. Unprecedented demand charter flights to Havana from New Orleans and New York have begun, and companies like MasterCard and Airbnb have announced plans to operate on the island. The rest